I've sort of been living in a bit of an imbalance, to be honest, you know. So it's at this time in my life, I'm just finished an album, you know. I'm basically resetting, and honestly, I've lived my life in not in an unbalanced way, right? And it does affect you in time, and has affected me. Like this year, actually, like definitely has affected me. It really, like, my mental health got really, really bad this year. And it was because I was just too unbalanced in how I was approaching it. So, and I've been that way for quite a while. And it's sort of worked out okay. I mean, I was working jobs 3 years ago. So that forces you to have some sort of balance, you know. Now I'm sort of left to my own devices. You know, you can get too obsessed in stuff and get too deep into it, and other things slip in a bad way in your life, you know. So you gotta be careful. I don't have a very like, what's the word? Structured life, like you said. So at the moment, you know, I have my to-do list, right? So I know I've got to do this. I know I've got to do that. I know I've got to do that. I know I've got to do that. And after that, it's I mean, my staples is writing music and performing music. That's my business, right? So those things are important, and they're just ongoing, you know. So when I've cleared up my to-do list, I have that mental space open, then I can entertain the idea. But yeah, I think being unbalanced about it and like pushing everything away to just write music is not healthy in the long term, and it definitely caught up with me this year. Absolutely. So I've had a bit of a life adjustment in some ways to try and balance my stuff out a bit, and in a good way, and help me be creative and that in a healthy way, and ultimately benefit my productivity, you know.
Yeah, it's weird that sort of how fixing the other things. I always feel better. I mean, I'm sort of getting back into doing a bit more exercise. I've sort of fallen off it a bit recently. I always feel at my best when I spend time exercising, and it's you know, if you were ultra sort of creative person, you might be thinking like, oh, that hour and, you know, plus travel time to the gym or whatever, you can think, oh, that might be better spent on my instrument. But it's like that. I think the time you spend working on yourself, to a certain degree, there's diminishing returns, but is invested time, so that when you sit down with your instrument, you're sharp, you're with it, you know, you've got nothing else to think about. Whereas if I'm not feeling fit and healthy, if I'm not balancing things like sorting my emails and just keeping up to date with all of that stuff, I don't sit down with a clear conscience on the guitar, because I think like I've got all this other stuff to do that isn't
totally
right. So it's almost like, yes, I could sit there for 12 hours in the day. I think I'd get a bit fed up by hour 11, but you know, yeah. I mean, so with we can go as much or as little into this stuff as you like, but with regards to sort of finding that balance, what sort of things do you feel like you've done to kind of achieve more of a balance in the last year or so, or kind of to maintain that kind of healthy, I guess, lifestyle?
I mean, I'm trying to engage more into the outside world, I guess. So yeah, I'm doing one thing as a start into a routine, which is helping my wife out with her business. She's got a new business, and I'm dedicating a day to helping her. So it's just like, that day is not about me. That's about her, you know, and helping her. So I think that's a good starting point for me personally, because, you know, I've been very obsessed with creating and making music, because that's my passion and my business and everything. So most days prior to this year, it's been like, all right, do I feel like writing music? All right, cool. I'm going to write music, you know, and doesn't matter what else is going on, you know, sort of, it's just not a good way to be, you know? So yeah. So now I'm trying to implement that sort of thing, helping out her and just giving her a day. And, you know, being a bit more normal in that way. It's and doing more things, like just spending more time with her and stuff, you know. And then, you know, that makes our relationship better and all that sort of stuff, and makes us both happier, and that's just going to make my mental state a lot better for when I'm, you know, do have time for my own creativity and stuff like that. So that's just one very small move I've made recently towards that. But yeah, it's just, you know, trying to engage more and go out more with friends and go out to gigs and just be a bit more normal, you know.